I don't think it was ever I just didn't love myself. There were times, obviously, be angry with yourself or frustrated with yourself or thinking, I'm not doing enough. I mean, I can remember my birthdays, to be honest with you, probably up to my 40th birthday, including my 40th birthday. You have a birthday with a 0 on it once you're over past 30, 35, sometimes 5 years on it as well. And people look at their life differently culturally. And I used to think it was bullshit. But sure enough, I would do it. I remember turning 40, and I was really, really unhappy. I was like, Jesus, I've not done enough. I've not helped enough people. I know tens of millions of people at that point already. Done all over the earth in 100+ countries at that point. But it was still kind of stuck in my head. So I would earn the love by over-delivering, change somebody's life. Like, I don't get it because somebody says, oh, I love you, Tony. I mean, I appreciate that. Or, oh, you're the greatest. It's got to be my standard. My standard's higher than their standard for me. Right? So when I get up and someone's going to kill themselves and they're suicidal and boom, turn around and they're no longer not going to kill themselves, but they're transformed, their life is there. That's when I go, okay, now we've hit the center of what I'm made for. Now, I deserve to feel this euphoric feeling within myself and appreciation. And even then, I still know it's God coming through me. I don't have the delusion it's just me. But I think sometime after 40, I finally saw the stupidity of it, and I accumulated enough that I looked at life with fresh eyes. And I could say by the time I turned 60 a year ago, I noticed it was interesting because my birthday, I didn't have an ounce of it. I was just like, how could I at this stage of my life when I've had the privilege of serving so many humans in so many contexts, from turning around, guys are going to kill themselves with PTSD to helping kids turn around to getting kids off cocaine or adults to, help people build multi-billion-dollar businesses from nothing. And when I've lived this long, I can't go by without hearing half a dozen stories a day or a dozen stories a day from people telling me how something I did changed their life. So it's not that I'm so smart now, it's just I've stacked it. By the way, though, stacking is the way you can do things. Most of us stack the negative. If you are really angry, it's not usually because it's just the moment. It's that it happened again. It's like, if you've ever lost it or overreacted to your kid or to a friend or business or even within yourself, it's because it happened again. We hit this 1, 2, 3 mini point, and then our nervous system overreacts. But what I've learned is you can stack the good. But for example, if you go into a state of really strong anger for more than 5 minutes, your immune system is suppressed between an hour and a half to 2 hours. That's a physiological fact. When no one had done any study, I started stacking good. Like, okay, let me stack a dozen great memories, feel them, see them, experience them. And I felt this biochemical change that didn't just last a half hour, an hour, or 10 minutes. It went on for a day or two. And so I think I've learned to stack the good. So just having the experience is not enough. You got to stack the good to be able to appreciate it. But I think, just come back to the main point here from my perspective, which is completely just my perspective. So I want to point that out. I think the more you find unconditional love for others, the easier it is to find in yourself. And I think the focus is serving and loving, and that's what will get you to the point where you start doing it. But if you want to speed it up, stack all the good you've done, you'll feel great about yourself.
The other thing is, I try to convince nobody of anything. I have zero interest in convincing anybody that anything I say is right. Like, zero. Like, people are always like, Gary, how do you convince the clients to do social media? I'm like, I don't. I tell them what I believe. Hopefully they'll do something about it. And if not, then I can't wait to see them in 7 years when I can tell them, I told you so. I really feel like I win either way every time. I really feel like that's what happens. I'll either be historically correct and I'll razz you. All these kids that are not signing with Vayner Sports right now, right? Because me and my brother have the sports agency, and we're coming in second a lot because they're enamored, but we're still new. And this agency that's been doing it for 40 years and did it for my favorite player feels like a smarter bet. It's crazy. I love it. There's a thing that came out about Kobe and Dwayne Wade this weekend, where Dwayne Wade was talking about how he broke Kobe's nose in an all-star game, and he called him like a day later, and Kobe was like, no, I love it. I love that you broke my nose. And everyone was just talking about how crazy Kobe was, and I was like watching that video, I was like, I so understand that. The only thing I like better than winning a piece of business is losing it. I genuinely enjoy it more.
The key to self-confidence is really simple. And this is absolutely, I've trained hundreds of thousands of people. I've spoken to millions of people around the world. I can tell you this, the self-confident people I know, whether they are athletes, school teachers, mechanics, parents, stay-at-home moms, you name it, they have a pattern of keeping promises they make to themselves. The groundwork of beginning to build self-confidence is to begin to keep the promises you make to you. And that's why it's important to begin to even make small promises. If you're going to get up at a certain time in the morning, not only do it, but then give yourself credit. Say, I did what I said I was going to do. If it's in your diet or your fitness, don't just eat the healthy foods. Go, I'm doing what I said I was going to do. You begin to build this reputation. If you're constantly being influenced and moved by what other people think about you, it means there's a deficiency in what you think about you. And so the key is not some, esoteric like belief system. It's a pattern of keeping the promises that you make to you. That's the groundwork of self-confidence for sure. And it is a pattern. When I meet people that lack confidence, I think, let me serve you. Let's begin to keep the promises you make to you. You're so worried about, there's this addiction to other people's approval in the world, right? It's the greatest addiction today. It used to be drugs. Before that, it was alcohol. There's all these addictions, sex addictions, whatever. The number one addiction in the world today is the addiction to other people's approval. And that's because we don't approve of ourselves. We don't feel a spirit, a universe, a God that we believe in that approves of us. And so my confidence comes from both my faith and in the fact that I keep promises I make to myself. That's the groundwork of all confidence.
Think of this for a moment. Do you know that every living soul gets exactly the same amount of time? Exactly the same amount of time. Figure it out. You get all there is. A hobo sleeping under a bridge or on a park bench that has no material possessions, none, does nothing of any constructive nature. That person gets exactly the same amount of time as the most productive industrialist in the world. We all get exactly the same amount of time. So it's what we do with the time that makes the difference. Of the number of time management programs, almost everyone under the sun has time management programs. In fact, I made one time, spent a lot of money on it. And then I found out it was a dumb waste of time and money. Do you know why? Time can't be managed. I was having breakfast with Earl Nightingale one morning, and it was downtown Chicago, and I was going with him on a speaking engagement, and it was early in the morning. He said, "You want to meet for breakfast?" Whenever Earl Nightingale said, "You want to meet me?" I was there, and I always had some well-prepared questions. And I remember asking him, I said, "Earl, how did you learn how to master time management?" Yeah, we're having breakfast. I can still hear his fork hit the plate. He said, "What the hell are you talking about?" He said, "I've never mastered time management. Nobody masters time management." He said, "Time can't be managed." He said, "I merely manage activity." And he took a little card out of his pocket. And he said, "Every night before I go to bed, I write down 6 most important things I have to do tomorrow. These are goal-achieving activities. And when I wake up, that's what I start working on. And if I don't get them all done, I'll add them to tomorrow's list." He said, "You should have about 6. Now, if I have 3 that I didn't get done today, that doesn't mean I have 9 for tomorrow, like 6 plus these 3. Those 3 become part of the 6 you have to do the next day." When you wake up, you give all your conscious attention to do those things. See, you cannot manage time, but you can manage activity. You can manage your activities. Make certain that what you're doing really makes a difference. Make certain that you're spending your time on activities that are productive, that are taking you in the direction of your goal.
This question is from Froso Marinu on YouTube. When your home life is less than desirable, it's not where you want to be living, but you're trying to break out, how do you not let the chaos around you affect your vision and drive? So this is a framing question. So what you want to do, this Tony Robbins asked this question. I think it's absolutely brilliant. How is the worst thing that ever happened to me the best thing that ever happened to me? So in your circumstance, how is being in a chaotic home life the best thing ever? Now I'll give you one example off the top of my head. And this is exactly why I play first-person shooters. Can you learn to stay calm in the chaos? Because my friend, I have the chills. If you can do that, it will serve you so well in every single area of your life, in a relationship, in business, if you want to be an athlete, if you want to play games, like whatever it is that you do, one of the things that you're going to have to become great at is letting all of the noise drift away into nothing and getting into laser focus on the thing that you're working on. Now, when I give advice like that to people, they think, well, how do I practice? The amazing news is the best thing that has ever happened to you is that you have a built-in way to do that. Your home life is mass chaos. So now you get a chance to practice. I have the chills. You get a chance to practice every day, tuning out the chaos and getting laser focused on something. That's framing. Now, there are other ways, but that one is so powerful that I will end it there. Focus on that. It is practice every day. Thank God you're living in this chaotic environment. Man, congratulations.
I'm going to share a little trick with you and all viewers. You see these pencils here on my desk? I've got these all over the place. I got probably thousands of these. And I have this. This is the lowest tech thing you've ever seen, sticky note. During the day, here's one I just, this morning, I write down things I have to get done. I know it's low tech. There's all kinds of software can do this for you. I don't care. I like pulling a pencil and simply writing down, oh yeah, I got to get that thing done, and just making that note. I learned this from a very successful person years and years ago, my mother. And this note just sits here all day, and at night, if I haven't finished, and usually there's 3 or 4 I haven't done, I look at it and say, okay, tomorrow I will get this done before anything else, before, I go online, before I read anything, I go watch television, before I make any phone calls or texts or anything. I'm gonna get this thing done. And I stick it on the mirror on the right-hand side. Number 1, record bass line for track 15. All right, so I found a piece of music that I recorded back in '89. I'm working on a documentary about watch dials, which I think you're going to find interesting when I finally get it finished, but it needs the music so the editors can work with the beat of the music. And this thing I recorded in '89 does not have any bass, and I didn't play bass back then. Now I do, so I'm going to go back in the studio and lay down the bass track for track 15. Number 2, reconcile foreign currency. I have investments over in Europe. And each month I reconcile to the currency to figure out how much of the performance was gained or lost by the change in the currency rates. So I want to do that this morning. It's important to get that done for last month because, if you don't have that information, you can't make moves. And number 3, tape questions 4 and 5 for Tax Hive. Tax Hive is a new business I've got involved in as an investor and also as a spokesperson. This is a company that helps small business with their taxes and payrolls, very important in my portfolio companies. So I'm recording some messages, and 4 and 5 have to be done today, so I'm going to go into the studio and record those. Great take. That's the one. Before I do anything else today, these 3 puppies are going to get done. And that is how you get super productive. And you don't let anything distract you. You don't take a phone call, you don't do emails, you don't do anything. You get the things done that you made the priorities the night before. Do it every day. Try it. It's fantastic. Look at this low tech. Low tech, you write it down on a piece of paper, stick it on the mirror. Come on, it works.
The best lesson for me was coming back from what happened. So what happens very often is that there's no way to really feel like, how do you put value on what you're doing? You then only have money is the only barometer of what you're doing. Say, money's like alcohol. It amplifies you. It doesn't change you. If someone's an asshole and they drink, they're a giant asshole when they drink. If someone's an awesome, funny person, when they drink, they're the life of the party, right? Money's very similar. It's not going to make you anything that you're not, but it'll make you more of what you are.
You want something, but you forget the most important thing, which is know why you want it. Know why you want it.
It's really just using belief to affect reality in a positive way.
Fear is a dangerous obstacle in part because we may fail to admit its existence. Fear needs to be recognized and managed properly, or it becomes an anchor.
And when you can see your life as a long journey, and that you know what it demands, then you'll stay the course.
And my point is take accountability for your actions. You can take all the credit in the world for the things that you do right, as long as you also take responsibility for the things you do wrong. It must be a balanced equation. You don't get it one way and not the other. You get to take credit when you also take accountability.
Success, guys, a very, very lonely road, man. Along that road, you're not going to see too many friends. You're going to see your shadow most often. See, the thing is, for many people, they've tried the same path you're on, and they failed. As you walk this journey, you're going to see carcasses all over the place of people that didn't quite have it. How do you know you're on the right path? Where do you go to ensure that? If today you never say good enough, tomorrow you'll always have enough. It's not the title that makes you. It's not the success that makes you. The character defines the success, defines the fame, and it starts right there. Championships aren't won in the theater or the arena. They're won in the thousands of hours in the training room, the labs, and the 5 a.m. runs, and it's raining, when everyone else is sleeping. That's when it's won. It's how you look at something. If your name's attached to it, that you do it right, the best of your ability every single time. The heart of a champion is a light switch that's always on. It doesn't go on and off when someone's watching. It's constant. How you hold yourself in the small things of life. Build the character winning blocks of the things that we'll remember for.
Isn't it funny how you can find yourself in a state that you're really not supposed to be in? Maybe you're not in a physical cemetery, but you're in a spiritual cemetery. You're just in a dead place. Let me talk to you a minute, because I know you all have never been in a dead place. But I know what it is to be in a dead place. I know what it is to get up and get dressed and put on my clothes and drive to work and nobody know that I'm living in a dead place. I know what it is to paint a smile on my face just because I know you're looking at me and you expect me to smile and keep to myself the secret that right now I am living in a dead place. When you find yourself living in a dead place, you are so excommunicated from everybody around you that it's hard for people to reach you when you're living in a dead place.
See, I say if you look at your life, and if you're not getting what you want, you owe it to yourself to do something differently. 85%, they say, of Americans go to jobs that they're unhappy. If you're doing something 8 hours a day that you don't like, it's not giving you what you want, it's not giving you a strong feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment. If that's what it is, you owe it to yourself to start strategically working to change directions. Most people will resist change. Most people will fight change as if change would be worse than what they're experiencing.
I'm wondering if there's any brothers in here who have broken restraints, gone over the limit. People told you this is as far as you're supposed to go, but you find yourself going beyond the limit. People who love you try to tell you you're going too far, but you won't listen because you're a grown man. You can do what you want to do whenever you want to do it and go wherever you want to go. Have you ever seen independence get somebody in trouble? Too much freedom can be a dangerous thing. It's a good thing to have some discipline in your life, to set some boundaries and say, I don't go past this point.
Taking responsibility for whatever happens to you. Knowing that you have consciously made the decisions that are now affecting you. Knowing that what is happening now, today, is the direct result of your activity, what you did yesterday. Self-reliance is basically counting on yourself. Now, being self-reliant doesn't mean you can't work with others or trust others. Self-reliance means counting on yourself, trusting yourself, being confident with yourself, being responsible to yourself, trusting your own instincts.
We all have people that come against us, make negative comments. Human nature is to get in there and try to straighten them out, prove to them how they're wrong. We think we have to defend ourselves. After all, that's our reputation. But the problem with this approach is as soon as you get one person straightened out, 3 more will pop up. There will always be somebody that's against you, somebody that's trying to make you look bad. If you're constantly trying to defend yourself, you'll get distracted fighting battles that you were never supposed to fight. It's easy to get baited into conflict, thinking, did you see what they said about me on social media? I'm gonna show them who they're messing with. Do you know how much energy it takes to try to pay somebody back? You are spending emotional energy that you need for your dreams, for your goals. Here's the key. Quit worrying about the chatter, the negative comments. Those are all distractions. That's the enemy trying to bait you off course so you'll waste your time and energy involved in battles that don't matter.
Success, many will love you for it. The majority will hate you. Because your success makes them feel insufficient in their current endeavor. Reminds them of where they could have done it if they came up short and how they didn't revisit it. The difference between a winner and a loser, the failure's there every single time. It's just the winner gets back up, does it again, and does it again, until it goes his way. So now you're down that path and you're all alone. How do you know you're on the right path? How do you know what you're doing is in the right direction? Look at the small things of life. How do you do that?
If you decide to take the initiative to change the current quality of your life, I say to you that you will find that the universe is on your side, that life is on your side. Now, would it be easy? No. Will you have some opposition? Yes. See, a lot of people won't try anything different in life because they don't want to get hurt. Let me tell you something. It's too much pain to duck. Pain is everywhere. Viktor Frankl calls it unavoidable suffering. You can't duck it. But most people spend their life not wanting to deal with the pain of rejection, the pain of being disappointed, the pain of losing, the pain of failure, the pain of not being liked, the pain. That's called life. Life is full of pain. It's everywhere. But guess what? There's no gain without pain.
Gestalt psychologists give an example of being self-reliant. They say that you're responsible for getting caught in the rain. They say that by deciding not to carry an umbrella every day, you have made the decision to endure an occasional drenching. Translation? By not being prepared, you make the choice of getting caught in some of life's unpleasant circumstances. Be they rain, failures, economic losses, relationship losses, professional losses, personal losses. By not being prepared, thinking ahead, it's your choice. Now here's the other side of it. By being prepared, you increase your chances of success. You increase the likelihood. By being prepared, you increase your chances of success. of seizing opportunities when they come your way, of being ready within yourself to take advantage of once-in-a-lifetime situations. Some people tend to blame others for their mistakes, blame others for their failures. Somebody says, it's not my fault the report isn't done. So-and-so didn't do their part. Of course it's your fault. It's your report too. It's your responsibility to see that everyone you delegated work to does their part. Now, you can't control what others around you do, but it's in your own best self-interest, your enlightened self-interest, that you stay on top of things, especially if it's going to affect your future. You think your boss cares that John didn't do his part? You think he sees John as the bad guy? Of course not. All he sees is that the report isn't done, bottom line. Be responsible for the things that affect you. You can make sure you're more responsible by checking in with those people who are working with you, the people who make up your team. You can be more responsible by saying, hey, John, how are you doing with your part? Do you need some help? Can we put somebody else in here to help you finish? Now, if John consistently doesn't handle his part, you've got to replace John. If he isn't doing his share, you've got to find somebody that will. Or what? It will negatively affect you. You can't wake up in the morning that the project is due hoping and wishing that John has done his part. No, you've got to be responsible because it's going to affect your career too. Now, my approach to my better future very early on in my career was to just go through the day with my fingers crossed. And I used to say something like, I sure hope things will change for the better. Then here's what I found out. They're not going to change. Somebody says, well then, how will my life ever change? Answer, when you change. When you change, when you get better, it'll get better. If you change, it'll all change. Don't put it on someone else. Hope that someone else will change it for you.
So many of us, we think that Friday is when life begins. We think Friday, when we stop working, is when we can be happy. Can we turn Monday into the new Friday? You ought to wake up every single day of the week. Doesn't matter if it's Friday, doesn't matter if it's Saturday. You ought to wake up and say, devil, not today. It's Monday, and I got a vision for my life. When I retire, then I will be happy. When I can finally cease working. The only problem is, as you start to study research, what you'll discover very, very quickly is that when people retire, do you know that the death rate increases? When people retire, depression increases. What if the thing you despise is keeping you alive?
The first reason why people hold back in life is because they keep putting their life on the back burner. They keep waiting till later to start living the life that they were meant to live. Because we all think that we got infinite time. We all think that we've got this enormous amount of time. Well, let me tell you something. If you keep waiting to live your life, eventually it's going to pass you by. Eventually, everything that you wanted to accomplish is going to just pass you by if you never find the confidence, or never find the hope, or never find the will, or the belief that says you should try to do this. I see so many people out there that are like, I have a goal, but I can't do that right now. I want to pursue my dream, but we living in a pandemic. I see a whole bunch of people out there who have a dream, but they're too scared to go after it.
It begins right now with no one looking, man. How you hold yourself, how you see yourself. What do you do when no one's watching? If you do it then, I guarantee you, you'll be doing it when everyone's watching.
Take responsibility for yourself. Take personal responsibility. You can't change the circumstances or the seasons or the wind, but you can change your reading habits. You can change whether or not you go for the skills, burn the midnight oil, turn yourself around, multiply your value by 2, 3, 5, 10. That you've got charge of. That you have control of. You don't have control of the constellations, but you've got control over whether or not you go to night school take adult classes, learn some new skills. You have control over that. And if you don't, that's your fault. You've got to take personal responsibility. You've got to be self-reliant. You. Nobody else can change your life, alter your ambitions, pave a golden road for you. But you can. It's up to you. Be responsible for yourself. Learn to reap the harvest without complaint. This is a sign of growing maturity. And here's where it comes from: taking full responsibility. Take full responsibility for everything you do. Be responsible to yourself. It's your crop. Whatever your paycheck is, take full responsibility. You say, well, it's my employer. No, it's not your employer. You can become twice as valuable, 3 times as valuable. Burn the midnight oil, learn some more skills, bring more value to the marketplace. I'm telling you, whatever your harvest is, take it without complaint. Take it without blaming others. Self-preparation leads to control over your life. We discussed this in the last session. Whenever you prepare correctly, taking all of the steps you're supposed to take, doing everything in your power to stay on track, whenever your preparations lead to success, achieving your goals, you reinforce the disciplines that got you there. Success leads to reinforcement of the proper disciplines. If what you're doing is working, keep doing it. If what you're doing isn't working, change it. When you are doing all that you can possibly do and are successful at reaching your expectations, keep doing it. Success is a reinforcement. Psychologists call this positive reinforcement. We all know about positive reinforcement. That's how we train our dogs. That's how we teach our kids. That's how the trainers at SeaWorld can get a killer whale to do tricks and follow commands and work side by side with humans by positive reinforcement. When you bring a brand new puppy home and try to teach him not to mess in the house, what do? You reward him for going outside or scratching at the door. When you're trying to get your toddler out of the diaper stage, what do? You reward her with special presents, make her feel special for learning something new. When you're trying to get your older kids to crack the books and study, what do? You reward them when they get good grades. You teach them that the skills they are developing now will have great positive effects on their lives later. But you reward them now. This is positive reinforcement. Learning that there are rewards for doing something good, something worthwhile, something of value. The greater the value, the greater the reward. The better you do, the better your reward. The greater the value, the greater the reward. A bigger paycheck, a better house, financial freedom. It's all a reward system. Now, there are 2 major benefits of positive reinforcement. Number 1, positive reinforcement builds good habits. If what you are doing, the habits you've gotten into, are building your ambition and increasing your success, keep doing them. Your success is reaffirming that these habits are good. Your success tells you that you need to keep doing what you are doing. By reviewing these habits that bring on success, you reinforce them, give them sticking power. Now here's the other side. By reviewing your habits, what you do every day, by reviewing your habits, you may find out that some of them are inhibiting your success. You may find out that what you're doing every day is bad for you. Or you may realize that you've gotten out of some very good habits. Somebody says, well, I've just gotten out of the habit of taking my daily walk around the block. Well, I guess you'll just have to get in the habit of being sick down the road. Somebody says, well, I used to read the books all the time. I've just gotten out of the habit. Then change it. Go back into your disciplines. If you've just gotten out of the habit, just get back into the habit. It's called discipline. If it doesn't work, don't do it any longer. You can keep your fingers crossed if you want to and hope that it'll all straighten out. You can wish for the wind not to blow quite as severely, to change in your favor. but we call that naive at best. If the habits that you've gotten into aren't serving you, change them. You can't keep doing this any longer. Don't wish for a better wind. The key is to wish for the wisdom to set a better sail. Utilize whatever wind that blows to take you where you want to go. That is the philosophy I picked up at age 25, and it revolutionized my whole life. And here's what I found. I found it was easy. I became a millionaire when I was 31, and I found it was easy. Now here's my definition of easy. It was something I could do. I figure if it's something you can do, it's easy. But here's a little parenthesis. I worked hard at it. I made sure my disciplines were in line. I made sure my habits were good. I made sure I did all that I could. I found something that I could do, but I worked hard at it. I got up early, stayed up late, and worked hard from age 25 to 31. But what I did was easy, meaning it was something I could do. Well, you say, Mr. Rohn, if it was so easy, how come during those 6 years, all those other people around you didn't get rich? Here's why. It's easy not to. How else would you describe it? That's it. It's easy to keep doing the things that don't work. It's easy to keep bad habits. It's easy not to develop the disciplines. It's easy not to. So how come I got rich and they didn't? Here's a philosophical phrase. The things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. That's the difference between success and failure, between daydreams and ambitions. Here's the key formula for success. A few disciplines practiced every day. And those disciplines have to be well thought out. What should you spend your time doing? Don't waste your time on things that aren't going to matter. But a few simple disciplines can change your whole economic future. Future with your family, future with your business, future with your enterprise, your sales career, your management career. A few simple disciplines, a few simple habits, good habits, repeated every day. Now here's the formula for failure. Errors in judgment, repeated every day. All you've got to do is to have a few errors in your judgment and repeat them every day. I'm telling you, they'll spin out of control in 10 years. You'll end up driving what you don't want to drive, wearing what you don't want to wear, living where you don't want to live, earning what you don't want to earn. A few errors every day, bad habits every day, it's disastrous. Now here's why it's easy to repeat an error in judgment. Because failure doesn't fall at the end of the first day. Bad habits don't show their horrible results at the end of the first day, or the first week, or the first month. It's easy to get faked out. If disaster fell on us at the end of the first week, we'd change our philosophy. But it's so subtle. Errors in judgment, bad habits. They're so subtle. They get you a little off course, a little off course, a little off course. You keep drifting off course, and all of a sudden you're caught. So you've got the choice right now of one of two easies. Easy to do or easy not to do. I can give you in one sentence how I got rich by the time I was 31. I did not neglect to do the easy things I could do for 6 years. I did not neglect. That's the key. I found something easy I could do that led to fortune, and I did not neglect to do it. The major reason for not having more of what you want in America, more health, more money, more power, more influence, more everything, the major reason is simple neglect. Neglect. And if you don't take care of neglect, it becomes an infection, and then it becomes a disease. So if you're in the habit of not doing it, doing all it takes to get ahead, get in the habit of doing it. Doing all it takes. That's the first benefit of positive reinforcement, building good habits. Now, the second benefit of positive reinforcement is that it creates the energy to fuel additional achievement. It gives you the drive to do more, to not only keep on doing what's right, but to do more of what's right. The disciplines that will help you grow and get ahead of it all. The knowledge that what you're doing is paying off creates more energy to keep going. How easy is it to get up in the morning when you know you're not doing all that it takes? It's not very easy at all. You can just lay there awake thinking, oh, what's a few more minutes in bed? It won't matter much anyway. Wrong. It does matter. It will matter. Now, how easy is it to get up in the morning when you're pouring it on, doing the best you can, anxious to get going, make progress toward your dreams? It's a whole different story. When you're resting to renew your reserves, it's much different than resting to avoid your day. When you're psyched up and excited for your life, when you're excited for what you've planned to accomplish for the day, it's amazing you'll wake up before the alarm clock even tries to startle you awake. Your successes fuel your ambition. Your successes give you extra energy. Your successes pave the way for more successes. It's the snowball effect. With one success, you're excited to meet another, and another, and another. And pretty soon, the disciplines that were so difficult in the beginning, the disciplines that got you going, are now part of your philosophy.